Hello and welcome to this edition of the Empathic Designer podcast. I'm your host Vaidishwaran. So, as learning and development professionals, we spend a considerable amount of our time with our clients and stakeholders making design recommendations. So, when we talk to our clients making recommendations, be it a brand new client with whom you're trying to create a long term working relationship, or be it an existing client with whom you've been working on multiple projects, when you make a recommendation, one of the first things that they ask you is, does this really work? Has this been done before? Do you have any samples? Or if it is a new client, they might probably ask you, do you have any testimonials to support such a design? So, in a sense, what they're really asking you here is for your story. They're asking for your success story. It is really important in working on your narration for this story because a great story is really critical in making a business, and at the same time, a poorly constructed story has the potential to break your business. A great story has 6 key elements, and that's what we are going to be looking at today. So, we're going to be looking at the 6 key elements that make a great story. So, let's get started. The first element of a great story is the structure of a story. A structure of a story should consist of a solid beginning that grabs the attention of your listeners, a strong middle section that should gather their interest and sustain it, and the closing section of your story which really goes about answering their burning questions. The second component of a great story is its ability to create intrigue in the minds of the listeners. When it comes to creating intrigue, your objective is to create and sustain the interest of your listeners, and this should happen within the first 30 seconds of the opening of your story. In order to do this, one of the best practice is to make sure that you have your problem statement straight and that your storyline aligns or resonates with this problem statement. In addition to this, you can work on providing the relevant information that goes about addressing their problem statement. The third component of a successful story is its credibility. So, when we talk about credibility, it is important that the situations and players in your story are authentic and the narration shouldn't sound like a feeble selling effort. A good strategy is to keep them really simple. This will lead to lesser counter arguments during the discussion. It's a good practice to run your stories by your team just to make sure that you've got all your loose ends tied up. If you're flying solo, I would recommend you narrating your story into a recorder and then playing it back multiple times to make sure that you iron out those creases. So, the fourth component of a solid story is the ability of the story to engage your audience. A good story keeps the listener engaged from start to finish. Your story should consist of a meaningful challenge or obstacle faced by your client, the tension and conflict created by the same, any surprises that came by that added a twist to the situation, and finally, how your solution helped your client overcome the obstacles and how things have become happily ever after. Adding a bit of humor into your narration is a great way of making your story really engaging. The next important element of a great story is its ability to evoke the right emotions. A good story never fails in bringing out the emotions of its players. This is the most important component of your story as it has the power to bring about the cognitive change in your listener's mind, ranging from a shift in their beliefs to making a decision about your working relationship with them. A compelling narration laced with empathy for the players of the story can bring about a real strong emotional connect of the story with your listeners. The last but not the least element of a great story is its ability to evoke a call for action. A good story has a strategic message, a call for action. It should always focus on answering your customers' questions. A strong call for action involves providing an answer to the most important question of your client. A good call for action is supported by the successful outcomes of your story and how it has created a positive outcome for the players of that story. So, there you go. Those are the 6 elements for a successful story. I wish you the best for creating great successful stories for your clients and make sure that you win more every day. Thank you for tuning into this edition of the Empathic Designer podcast. If you like what you heard, make sure to hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell icon for getting regular updates from my channel. Thank you and have a wonderful day.